My name isn't Kevin, contrary to popular belief.
Come on, Kevin.
It's Scott. It's an ethnic name. My family came over from Scotland. One of the things about being Scottish is really all we've got is Braveheart. So when you're 12 years old and you watch Braveheart, you start thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be so tough. So I went to a wedding and I wore a kilt, thinking I was gonna be so tough, just like Braveheart. And they made me leave the sword in the car, so I just kind of felt pretty. Growing up Scottish, you start to see Mick a lot around, and as a little kid, I used to wonder why I never saw Ronald McDonald in a kilt or with a sword or anything, and I did a little research on this on Google, and apparently it's for food safety reasons. But I do believe everything I look up on Google. So, I just moved here to the Midwest, and I discovered that thing that the people from Michigan do with their hand. I think it's actually pretty great and pretty efficient. Yeah, well, I'm actually from New York, and I've been trying to figure that out. There's no real way to do it with one hand. The first thing I do when people ask me from where I'm from is I prepare myself for this utter disappointment and this waning interest in what I have to say, because the conversation goes a lot like this. Hey man, where are you from? Oh, I'm from New York. Oh man, I went to the Empire State Building this one time for a class trip. No, actually, that's in New Jersey. Well, what about, what about the Empire State Building? You must walk by it. No, I'm from upstate. Well, what's upstate? You're from, what, like Buffalo? Yeah, you got like a football team, like the Bills or something, right? No, about 600 miles from there. So to avoid this, I tell everyone I'm from Vermont. And the first thing they ask, hey man, what's in Vermont? Hippies. I'm fucking terrified of hippies. They're the scariest thing in the world to me. And a lot of this stems from this one night. I decided that I was going to go to this hippie festival off in the woods and dance in a circle and listen to the same song all weekend. And so I went there, and I'm like, and I'm really cheap, right? So I meet a grown man named Turtle, and I buy about 50 pills off this guy for about $5. And I'm thinking I'm getting a deal, so I'm like, sweet, man. I'm like, how many should I take? He's like, I don't know. So I took them all. And the next 18 hours looked a little like this. So I turn the corner and I look at a boulder and I see a guy with facial tattoos. He's about 75. He's smoking a hookah, wearing white robes, and he points that way. So where the fuck am I supposed to go? So I turn the corner and I see a guy walking out of a Winnebago, and he sees me and he's wearing a 3-piece suit, and he holds out a pair of night vision goggles and goes, hey man, check it out. They show you the future. And then he continues to walk around the other side of the Winnebago, and he's sitting at a picnic table full of Hell's Angels doing a pile of coke the size of what you see in Scarface. And so I run really fast, and I was nearly mauled by a dog named fucking Bob Marley Man. Seriously, it was written on the dog bone, no joke, not even part of the writing. And as I'm running through the woods, I find myself lost, and I have no idea what's going on. It's dark now, and I see these lights floating towards me, and I was escorted over a rope bridge, over a swamp, by these people wearing giant pants that kept giving me hugs. And so I ran away from them, and the sun was coming up a few hours later, and I'm looking around, and I see this other guy in a suit, and he says, "Here, man, here's an apple. This is gonna change your life." So I ate the apple. Didn't change anything. So I started making my way back to the exit because I'm like, all right, this place is fucking freaky. I can't handle it anymore. And I see this flailing, dreadlocked guy getting perp walked out the front gate. And I hear him protesting. He's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, hey, pull some guy aside. I go, hey, what's up with this guy? He's, aren't you guys all about peace and love and tolerance and right? Oh man, that guy, that's Turtle. He shows up and sells cough medicine to people. You didn't buy anything off of him, did you? Fuck. So I grew up in an Italian restaurant, but I'm Scottish. I'm Italian by osmosis. It's actually pretty great. Means I smell like garlic and cologne, but I don't have any of the hassle of the hair. Talking to you, Nick Novich. And, part of you guys have seen Jersey Shore. I refuse to watch Jersey Shore because I've seen the prequel, and it's way more authentic. Talking about families and growing up, I'm having my first kid in June. That's right. And it will have more hair than me. So I started thinking about names, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like any of you guys, I make lists, and I'm like, oh, well, what's the best one? These are all great ideas. And so I'm making these lists, and I'm like, well, what about verbs? You don't see a lot of kids out there whose names are verbs. And I'm thinking about them like flip, skip, hope, skating, fucking Bob Marley man. I assure you it's a verb. And then I'm thinking about adjectives and things that name my pets, descriptive words like spots, stripes, socks. All right, so I filed these away in case they're applicable. But at the top of the list, number one, regardless of boy or girl, I do have one name in mind, and it's fucking awesome. So it's just, I can't wait till somebody walks up to me at a PTA meeting and goes, hey, your kid's fucking awesome. You're goddamn right. You guys are fucking awesome. Have a great night.